Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick, your creativity and spiritual life coach, and your host of Her Conversations, Tools for the Awakening. Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. This is the optimal state to embody in order to attract our highest desires. What is the awakening? This is the moment in time when humanity rises up out of the darkness. Who is awakening? Each one of us present on earth today, reclaiming our sovereignty, seeking greater possibilities in our reality and looking for solutions. We know being awakened is not a lofty ideal but a necessity. If we can transform ourselves, we can change the world. Guests on Her Conversations will speak to your spirituality, sensuality and soul. Listen to their stories and hear how they are in service to the world. Let their words and these conversations embolden and inspire you. And before we go into the episode with Mara Marchesi, I just want to share with you some ways that I can support you. And if you haven't started listening already, I encourage you to also listen to the sister podcast to this title, Her Inspirations. That's where you'll find all of my solo episodes, and in each episode I explore with you a different aspect of our creative and spiritual journeys. And currently I'm sharing on the podcast all of the things that inspired me, be it books, speeches, pieces of art, music, songs, all of the good stuff is all over there. And also, if you join the mailing list, you'll receive emails with additional teaching points and resources for you to explore deeper. And if you're someone who's always wanted to be heard in the world, and whether that means you're launching your podcast, you're showing up online, you're doing more public speaking, or you just want to be more vocal in your life, I've created Your Awakened Voice for you. This is my course, which uses a holistic approach, acknowledging the intricate connection between physical body, mind and spirit. This course empowers you to discover and develop your voice. Or if you're ready to enter into a more personalized one-to-one container with you, if you know there's a purpose to your life, my purpose is to support you to make that happen. In particular, I support women over 40, helping you to trust your intuition, rediscover that innate creativity, and use the decades of wisdom that you've gained to design that purposeful life. All the links are in the show notes below. My guest this week is Mara Marchesi. She is an intuitive and creative coach, healer and psychic. Her methodology is a unique combination of colour therapy, human design and inner child work. She passionately helps her clients, primarily entrepreneurs and creative souls, release their unconscious fears and blockages to thrive in both business and life. During our conversation, Mara shares about recognising and answering the call of your intuition and how doing so changed her path to be the woman and the coach that she is today. So as always, I begin by asking my guest. Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. When do you feel that higher energetic resonance?
When I am doing something that I really love, that's like, and mainly, well, for me right now, it's really just, having sessions with clients and seeing their transformation. But generally, it's when I do something that I truly love doing. Like, I don't know, I absolutely love music. And so if I am going to a concert, one of my favorite artists, I am in that high energy, high resonance, and I feel super, super pumped when I have in conversations with people that have a vision of life that is productive and is positive, it's hopeful. When I'm working with colors and I'm wearing colors, there are those things that truly make me feel like, that kind of aliveness in your body. So those are the moments for me where I feel there is most resonance and I feel in high resonance.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. So before we get into the conversation itself, Mara, I just want to give you the opportunity to share a little bit about who you are and how you got to be doing the work that you're doing now.
Yeah. So my name is Mara, but AKA the Intuition Queen. And this is the name that I was given by a friend of mine who is a channeler. because apparently my intuition is really strong. And now I can tell you it is. But at the time when I had just started, I thought everybody had the same kind of intuition. And I am a life coach, intuitive and creative coach, healer, and psychic. And I help many entrepreneurs, but oftentimes I get just people that want to change careers, to free themselves from whatever limitation they have that makes them feel stuck. And mostly it's emotional healing, energy healing. And I do a lot of also mindset and um, physical work. Because I think that everybody can follow their purpose and learn to trust their intuition. But in order for us to do that, we need to really understand what's going on within us. And through my experience, I learned that inner child healing, energy healing are super, super important to help us really shine as bright as we can. And oftentimes we just don't realize that's the case. So that's what I'm here to do, to help them really uncover who they truly are and not be afraid to be who they are in the way they are, and follow their passion and their purpose. How I got into this, a little bit by chance, but probably not so much. Um, I got given a book, well, The Secret. In 2009, I decided to move from Italy to London. London has always been a place that my soul wanted me to go to. And my friend was like, "Oh, before you go, you need to read this book because it reminds me so much about you." And I always had this desire to change my life, to make it better. And I really felt like it fit in where I was. I always had this big vision of doing a lot of things, and it wasn't possible where I was. And from that book, I learned something that is called self-development. And so from that book, I started to watch and read books of the people that were in the book. And from there, I started this self-discovery journey, and I started to use the techniques and the exercises that they were given to, change your mindset, change your mood, um, change your life, basically. And when I moved here, when I was in Italy, I was working in advertising, so I was hopeful that I could find a job like that, and that wasn't the case, and I had to find whatever I found. And so that meant really struggling with money. And so that helped me to move forward and to really trust that at some point something was going to change. And I started to give advice to people after I had taken the advice, or I had done the exercises, and I could see that there was a shift in my life. I started to then say, "Oh, why don't you do this?" And I became the person people were going to whenever they needed to feel better. People would just tell me, "Oh, Mara, I need to talk to you because every time I talk to you, I feel better." There is a component of me that's always been this very positive person. And so I always like to look at the glass half full rather than half empty. But with those tools, and this was kind of even more. And then at some point, a friend of mine was like, "Why don't you become a coach instead of looking at those guys and as if there's something impossible?" I'm like, "But those guys are millionaires." Like, and it was like, "Well, you don't have to get to that point. You can never get to the point if you don't start." And he wasn't the only person that said that to me. I started having people be like, "Why don't you become a coach?" And then that thought came into my mind. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I want to be a coach." But it took me years to actually make that happen. It took my dad to pass away. That scared me in terms of life can happen at any moment. So there is really no more time to waste. And so that's how everything started.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that as well. And it's interesting that you touched on the fact that it came to you that life is too important to waste. Why do you think you took action on that? Because many people don't. If anything, the majority of people will just keep going through and not have that feeling that I've got to do something. I don't want to get to the end of my life with any regrets or anything left over. What was it about you that made that important to you, like imperative for you to do something about it?
I think there was already some, like, I think that I already was born with my soul wanting me, urging me to do something different and different from where my life was at. I just have this, I remember having this vision when I was something like 11. And when you are in Italy, when you get to 12, 13, you change and you then go to what it's college for you here in the UK. And I just remember having this vision when they're like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I had this vision of me somehow in front of a lot of people talking like on a stage. But I wasn't surrounded by people that had that kind of like, that kind of mindset. I just love music, and the only stage that I knew was the stage where a musician would go, but that wasn't what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be a musician or a singer, but somehow this vision of myself there came into a dream and stayed with me. And so there was this thing that said to me, my soul was like, you're gonna be better, you can do better, you can change your life. So that was always within me. Here, when I moved here, this was also one of the reasons why I moved here. Like, I had this thing for which my soul felt like this was home. I never had the same feeling anywhere else I went outside of Italy. And not even Italy felt like this was my place. And so it felt to me this was the place where I was going to become someone. Somehow I was going to make a career. But the career that I had in mind wasn't going where I wanted it to. And so when I realized that this was the thing, I was like, okay, so this is it. But I think that I didn't take action for a long time. First of all, because at the beginning, I didn't have the money to invest in courses and things like that. But also because I was still in that kind of mindset, I need to make money, because I was surrounded by those kind of people, people that had gone to university and I had not, people that had degrees and variety of things and were making a lot of money. And I wasn't any of those people. And so there was the thing about me that I need to make it. And then there was this other side of me that wanted me to do this thing because that really was calling me. And it took my dad to pass away because it just felt like you're wasting your time. Like, now you have a good job and now you have money to save and now you can invest. And so why are you not doing it? Because yeah, my dad was 70, so he wasn't that young, but he wasn't even that old. And so the picture that I saw in front of my face was my mom suddenly not feeling good. And she's 8 years old, younger than my dad. So she was even younger. And all of a sudden, I was like, what if something happens to her? What if I have to move back? I don't want to move back. I haven't made my life happen yet. That is what freaked me out. And I was like, okay, no more time to waste. I gotta do it now, because if I don't take the chance to start at least studying to become a coach, then I'm gonna regret this forever, because I didn't come here to do a job that I don't actually like. I'm good at it, but do I actually love doing this? No. I am doing it and I'm trying my best to get promoted and to make more money, because this is what everybody does. And because obviously, you need money. But do I enjoy doing this? No, I don't. I don't really see myself doing this for that long. What I see myself doing is what those guys are doing. I see myself up there on a stage at some point with people listening to what I have to say. And I see myself helping people, doing something amazing. I see positivity in my life. I see harmony. I don't see people shouting at you because you haven't called the plumber, And so this is what pushed me more, and started to make me see that the fact that I didn't have the money was an excuse, because I did. I just had to stop wasting money on things that didn't matter. And so my dad passing away put my life in perspective. And so my priority changed in terms of everything, in terms of what's important for my life, for me, what's important for my family. Mm-hmm. Who are the people that actually truly love me here? Who are the friends that I actually can call friends because they behave like that? And who are the people that are just around me because it's fun to be around, but if I need something, they turn around, they don't have the time. Mm. And so that shifted everything in my life. I shifted everything from the way I started spending my money, from the way who I was going out with, when I was going out with, what I was doing, what was I focusing on. And that completely changed my life.
Mm-mm. Beautiful. And what were those early days like when you were stepping from one identity into your true identity as you knew it? What challenges were you facing? What were you being drawn back by? Was there anything that you were having to battle with, either within yourself or with the people that saw that you were making a transformation for yourself?
Well, because it coincided with me grieving, I became very insular. And so I really started to look at who was there for me, because I've always been that kind of person that it's fun and will always say something nice and will always cheer you up. And you can call anytime if you feel down. And all of a sudden, I was none of those things, because I needed someone to do that for me, or simply just to be there without even saying anything, just be there and know that I had someone that could care for me. And so what I saw was that a lot of people didn't really know how to handle that, me, because so my dad passed away in September 15, and I signed up for my course pretty much a year after. But in that whole year, I was not going out as much. I was working a lot because I would try to stay as much as possible. I had a lot of work to do. So I wasn't trying to stay at work, even if I didn't need to. I really had a lot of things to do. And my bosses were like, Mara, go home. And I was like, but I have this, that. I really just put myself into working mode, because that was the best way for me not to think and not to cry. And also not to feel guilty, because my mom was in Italy. And I knew that she was the one feeling it the most, because she had been together with my dad almost for 40 years. So I knew that she had taken the biggest toll, because I had left years before. And so I just changed, and I really chose the people I was going out with. And I slowly started to drift away from certain people that used to be my best friends. And the universe then always helps you to bring new people that are actually even better. And so I really chose to be around very, very few people. The one that really knew what to do with me in that period of my life, that really were there for me. And slowly I started to do things with people that I didn't think they care. And so that was the first year. So I traveled a lot that year, as I was moving through. Okay, so how do I handle everyone? And how I still went out with people, and I still traveled a lot. We had birthdays and hand-dos and weddings. So but past that year, and as soon as I started studying, I just had probably 4 people that I would go out with. And that was it. Like, I literally would go to work, come back home, have dinner, and then start studying. Those were my evenings. Those were my weekends, because I loved it so much. and I didn't want to waste time. I was so involved. I so loved it. And I was waking up like at 2 a.m. in the morning because my course was in Australia to be on the live calls and go to work the day after like nothing happened. I just had that such a high energy that helped me to move through. I also did some healing, obviously, but it was making choices that weren't necessarily comfortable, because then I had people calling me being like, oh, what's going on with you? And I was like, well, you know what's going on with me, so why do you ask? And things like that. And I always been someone that at some point would let go of people when I realized that maybe I was the only one trying to keep the relationship alive, the friendship alive. Always been that kind of person that would be like, okay, so it is what it is. So let's take a distance and see what happens. And nothing will happen. So, the friendship will no longer be there. In this case was intentional. And I really became intentional on who I wanted in my life and how I wanted those people in my life. And I'm not sure it was that difficult, to be honest. It was difficult for me to learn that some of the friends that I thought were my best friends, because we would each other say we were best friends, could not deal with me in that moment in time, didn't know what to do. And everything that we're doing was just making it more difficult for me to be with them and to not feel bad about everything. And so made me want to just be away from them. And I realized this is very common for a lot of people. When you lose someone, just people around you don't really know what to do with you because they don't know how to deal with your emotions. And that was like a wake-up call. It was like, oh, okay. So our friendship was something different than I thought it was. And so I really just started to be surrounded by people where I felt that I was loved and they didn't want anything from me, if not just the person that I am, with everything that comes with it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. There's like a couple of reasons why I asked you, to really focus on that part of your journey, because we're going to talk about your work now. Is one, there are many people and more people out there that are feeling the call from something that is probably the right thing to do, even though they're not feeling happy in themselves and they're not really knowing what to do with it, and then to really find out what the reality of making those steps are, what it entails, and the fact that it is possible. Like practically everyone who comes on the podcast is already doing, where you are in your business right now, doing it.
Yeah.
But oftentimes we don't necessarily spend time talking about the transition. And by you sharing about that transition point and you just kind of seeing, it's almost like I've been through multiple iterations of my own transformations.
Oh yeah.
So, it's like what happens where some people kind of come into focus a little bit more, and then some just kind of, it's almost like the curtain goes and changes, and like it's a new day and there's new people, or there's some spaces. And it's the reality of dealing with or seeing who people are when you're going through big shifts, or when you're going through just big things that happen in your life, whether it's a bereavement. When I had a bereavement in my family, I noticed who kind of stepped up and who didn't. And it was surprising to me, because even some of the people who I thought I'd be able to kind of share what I was going through, who'd been through their own bereavement with their own parents, just for some reason were not able to kind of connect. Because I'd be like, well, they've been through it, so maybe we can talk about that. But I think maybe, looking back on it and seeing how that period of time where I thought somebody might have been able to at least just kind of hear me out or talk about certain things, is, I think potentially now, with a few years behind me, and it might maybe like a slightly more compassionate view of that situation,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
realize that they just don't handle emotion very well, and they probably haven't even dealt with their own grief.
Yeah,
And then to
exactly.
try and speak to it to somebody else is
Yeah.
going to bring what they've not dealt with within themselves. So they kind of push back. And it's unfortunate because, when we're in this age of our lives, we're going to start dealing more and more with bereavements. It's just part of life. And the older you get, the if there's a generation ahead of you, then that's going to happen, slightly
Yeah.
more frequently than you'd expect it to when you're younger. And the fact that people aren't able to have the conversations about the pain that they're in, and then start pushing it into the darker corners of themselves and not dealing with it, then is going to create problems later for
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so when people don't deal with those kind of things, so that's one of the reasons that why I just asked you to kind of go into that period of your own life as well a little bit more. And also I wanted to ask you about your own practice. What are the modalities that you use? Because you kind of use like a real myriad of different gifts and skills to bring to your clients. So I'd love for you to share how you help.
Yeah. So as I moved through everything I was doing, I started with just normal coaching. But I always been interested in inner child healing, crystals, Reiki, so energy and things like that. And then I came across color therapy, and because I always been super attracted by bright colors, they always made me happy. I was like, what is this? So in my journey, which started in 2019, really, when I started my business, and then I had moments where I had to let it go and get back to work, to full-time work and things like that, because life happens. But I kept doing whatever I could to continue. Now what I do is I use color therapy, human design, and then normal coaching. So I combine all of those. You can have like a session with me, which is called Soul Alchemy, that helps, in which I will read the colors in your chart, because everybody have different kind of colors and they affect us differently. And it's like giving you a blueprint of how your energy works and what colors are the ones most aligned to you. And in that session, I don't just tell you what are your colors, but I channel a lot of information from your soul. This is the way my soul works. My soul language is color, and I don't have to do a color chart in order for my soul to see colors or to speak with colors. Sometimes I'm talking to someone, I go through whatever. So that's the way my soul works. And when I do this, when I have this session, I'm able to pinpoint whatever, either it's a situation, a particular emotion, or more than an emotion, a fear that is the reason why you feel stuck, maybe, or whatever, the reason why you came to work with me and have that particular session. And it's the way your soul is telling you, okay, this is what you need to work on right now in order for you to move forward and take the next step. So that helps me to help clients if they want to continue working with me. I have a program that is 12 sessions long, where we go deeper in what has come through from that session. And we do inner child healing, whatever is necessary as we go. And then I have a human design reading with a little bit of channeling. Because at some point I learned that combining colors and human design was the best way to give you the energetic blueprint. The human design is another practice that simply helps you to understand yourself better. Um, I always talk about finding your own personal way to live your life, because this is what I've done for me, and because I probably because I always felt trapped in what, society tells you should be doing, and your parents and people that know more about something. And because my intuition has always been very strong, and oftentimes has always told me, no, that's not your way. And I learned that when I follow my intuition, things will go well. And when I didn't, and I listened to someone else, then I will have to pay the cost of that. And I didn't like that. So I'm always very curious to find modalities that help me help my clients to understand themselves more. Human design is a bit more practical because it's science-based and helps you to understand how you function on an energetic level. So the example that I always give my clients is this. So you know that there is the 5 a.m. rule. If you wake up at 5 a.m., you're going to be super productive, and that's the way to be productive. Well, that doesn't work for everybody. And so what I say is, do listen to what other people say. There are experts for a reason, but that doesn't mean that's going to work for you because you are done differently. So it's about figuring out how you function. And human design helps you with that because it tells you what gives you energy, what takes you energy. If you are a kind of person that can take a decision in a split second and make things happen, like for example, if you're a manifestor, you have an idea, you can go and make things happen right there, right now. But if you're any other energetic type, you have a different strategy to follow. And like, for example, I'm a generator and I've learned that I need to respond to what my sacral is saying. And so basically from what my body, my intuition is telling me. And so it means that if you come to me and you say, Mara, what about we do a workshop together? If my body says no, I might like you very much. But maybe what you're asking me to do, it's not aligned to my energy, it's not aligned to my purpose. And so in learning those things about yourself really helps you to understand yourself more and to stop going against and to stop being afraid of certain things and to also understand where are your fears coming from? Where are your feeling of inadequacies coming from? How can you handle yourself better? Why are you triggered sometimes? Maybe it's because this is your energy. So like I know, for example, for me, I have a projection field because I'm a 5-1 generator. And so I know that people project a lot of me. So they can project the good and they can project the bad. So I know that I need to be very honest. And also I cannot tell people that things that I cannot do. So if they think I do something, it's on me to say, no, I'm not able to help you with this. And so it helps you to understand yourself more. And so from there, then we can do more energy healing if that's necessary. And then I do an inner child healing session, which is specifically for to go a little bit deeper. If you don't want to do longer sessions, like a 12 weeks, 12 session program, I understand it's longer and it's for people that actually want to do more work. But if you just want to do one thing, one session, because maybe you feel heavy in your heart and something's going on, and you know there are certain wounds from your inner child that needs to be addressed, then I also do that because I've done that for myself so many times and I've learned to understand the power of it. And then you can combine the sessions. And if you want to do a couple of sessions, there is an energy bundle or a healing bundle. So it's up to you. It's very versatile because that's the way I am. And I'm just not able to stick with one thing. I am super creative. I'm super intuitive, and I just need to have more than one thing going on because otherwise I also get bored to just do the same thing all the time. And so this is the way I function. And so this is what I present to people, but also because I love learning. And once I feel there is something, like now I'm studying gene keys, for example, and I know at some point I will offer those sessions. But it just feels for me, everything is tied up to one another. And it's just a kind of itinerary that I offer to my clients to help uncover who they are, discover something new, and really release whatever it's not there for them to be helpful, and really just get into the core of who you are release all the fears and heal in the meantime, so that you can actually be who you are, do what you want without feeling afraid or feeling guilty or anything like that, and just be more on purpose.
Great. I've got questions for each of those parts because there are little things. So the first, I'll start with color, and then I'll go to human design, and then I'll ask you about inner child work. These are just general questions. So color. So I'm going to make it all about me. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's something that I've noticed recently. I'd say in the past, definitely in the past 3 months, 3 to 6 months, that I've become more attracted to a color that I didn't hate it. I didn't have much of it around. So I was initially, before, I'd say I was very much a magenta kind of hot pink kind of person. I always would have my journals would have to have something like that, and I'd always have to have a color like that. Then I kind of moved into like a more I'd say like ivory and gold kind of thing. And I kind of still keep, that kind of ivory and gold
I can
colors
see that.
Yeah. And yeah, like kind of went that way. But then what I've really become like almost like a magnet to magpie and magpie and magnet really to is green, and super bright greens, almost to the point of not quite fluorescent, but really vibrant greens. Whereas before, because I was like, why have I not really embraced green before? Actually, I know when it started. I bought a coat at Christmas, and was I going to get black or was I going to get green? Well, I got green, but it was a very deep, dark green. And I was in two minds about it, because when it came, I was like, oh, I don't know. I've never worn a color like that. And then one day it got really cold, and it was the warmest coat that I had, and I still had it in the bag because I was like, I don't know if I like this coat. And I put it on, and one, it was like super warm. And two, I was like, hang on a minute, this color's like really cool. And I wore it practically every day, this coat, until the weather got too warm and I literally had to like peel it off my own back, because it was like, okay, we've gone past it. And then I was like, I really liked having that green, but it was still quite a very dark green. You'd have to see it in a certain light to even know it was green. And then I've started to really embrace like more brighter greens, like, the color of the leaves and things like that. And it's weird for me because I'm like, who's this person wearing this color? Because it's just like there's lots of khaki, but never like green. And I find myself being really drawn to having green. I've always got to have plants around me, but like to wear green. Like, is there something where you have this transition into a color that's a pull? And I'd be interested in your ideas around that.
Yeah, you always feel attracted or not attracted by a color because there is a reason. So you feeling attracted by green tells me that you either feel the need to be loved, or you just want to be surrounded by more love. Because green is the color of love, and it's the color of self-love as well. So it really is about taking more care of yourself, and really feeling the need to stay connected to your heart and open your heart, maybe, and just be surrounded by things, and gives you that feeling of love. So even just hearing you talking about how warm the cup was, and how that feeling of coziness, and really like you wrapped around something, and it's kind of like someone's wrapping their hands around you, makes you feel good. So it tells me that maybe this is what you're needing right now, like more love around you in all kind of ways. Could be just a very physical, as a touching, very warm coat, or just even someone, being taking care of you, or just being nice to you, you yourself also, just maybe realizing that you need to take a little bit more care of yourself, of your body, or your spirituality, whatever that could be. So that is that. And then also green is also the color of, if you have this color in your chart, you clearly are a person that is always there for everybody. but also struggles to take care of yourself. And so you put everybody else in front of you. And so you need to learn to stop being a people pleaser. So people that have this color normally have a bigger tendency than everybody else, because everybody has this tendency somehow. But if you have this color in your chart, because love is so important to you, then there is also this underlying shadow energy where you really need to be careful on taking care of yourself first, because that's not selfish, it is self-care. And because the more you take care of yourself, the more you can take care of others. And also you can discern who needs to be taken care of, because oftentimes we give, and people take, and there is nothing left. And when you need something, there is nobody around. So it's that kind of energy. But for you, I would say it's more about this need to feel love in all kind of ways and to give love to yourself. Does that make sense for you?
Yeah, I would say it is as well. It's interesting because me and friends are talking about, well, it's time for us to kind of open up to relationships now, you know,
There you go.
that single ladies thing. And you're like, that's cool. But then after a while, it's like, yeah, I've proved that I can do that now. Let me try and like open up to the possibility of that. So from that point of view, yeah. And the people pleasing tendencies are there anyway. You know, I'm not going to deny that. And that's something as well where I've had to really put down firm boundaries in terms of, you know, am I helping someone or am I just enabling them and stopping them being able to find their own power by putting in too much as well. And I can see, you know, how that comes from my perspective from two ways, from knowing what it feels like to have no one help you, and then you kind of go over help, but then also what was the other side of it? I was going to say, it's just gone out of my head now as well. But then from seeing almost feeling duty bound as well. Like it's like, that's what I'm here to do, you know, help.
Yeah.
Not wanting to ever let anyone down. Because, you know, making up for the lack of support that I had. And then feeling guilty by not giving because that, you know, wasn't given to me, which I suppose segues really easily into like inner child work, you know, because then that's kind of a spillover from times, you know, especially in childhood where it was just like, where is everybody? You know what I mean? Like, we really need some help now. And then being older and going, I never want anyone to feel that level of abandonment that I helped. So let me go and like do for everyone. So at least I know that I'm not letting anyone down to that level. But then by overgiving,
you're letting yourself down. You know, and but those are things that we need to learn as we go, because nobody has told us anything. Nobody, you know, and we always think that what we have experienced is normal until we realize it is not normal, and we're feeling in a certain way, and the way we're feeling is not right, or we are attracting. So, and I think, you know, for us doing this kind of work, it becomes very apparent after a while. When you start to do this kind of work, you're like, oh, okay, now I can see. But colors always have a relationship with what's going on with you. Your energy is always going to be attracted by a color or another, or is going to be like, I don't want this color. I don't want to hear about this. I don't like this color. When people are like, oh, I hate yellow, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it, you know? And, you know, I had a session. One of the first sessions that I had, this girl came to me because she wanted to know what color she had in her chart, because she wanted to understand if she could use it as a brand color. Because I talked in one of my podcast episodes that I use color therapy. My chart is my brand. My colors are my brand chart, my brand colors, because it just me. It just talks about me. It's intuition. It's creativity. It's everything that I am, and it made a lot of sense, aside from being my favorite color. So she was like, I just want to have a session. And I remember that I channeled some orange, and I was telling her I was feeling something about sexuality and creativity that was related to her past life. and that she needed to use more orange in order for her to move forward. Whatever, I don't remember exactly what we're talking about. She was like, I really don't like that color. I was like, yeah, I can see that. And the reason is, and so I went through what was the reason why and why she needed to do that. And so that was it. 2 months afterwards, she tags me on an Instagram story. She dyed her like, you know, that orangey color. And the tag was like, thank you to my coach, because she made me use orange and now I love it so much. And just looking at her with that color in her, she looked so sensual, but so natural and more confident, which is what she had said in the post. And I was like, there you go. I know there is always resistance, and normally it's because if you had been resistant, if you had told me, Mara, I really don't like green this year, you know, there is always a reason for it. Sometimes, you know, you shut down, maybe you had a bad experience, you don't want to know about love, you don't think love exists. And then if you start to use the color, then it works on an energetic level. And this is what I say to my clients. You don't need to do much, but in order for you to open up, you just need to slowly introduce that color in your life. And sometimes, you know, it's a bunch of flowers that you buy and, you know, they die, so you throw them away. You don't see that color that much, but that you don't know how much colors affect us. So it's slowly being intentional, and then you can get to wear that color. And, you know, and that helps you with your intuition. I always say, okay, just wake up in the morning and say, I have this meeting. I need to feel, I don't know, confident. And you don't need to know the meaning of the colors. Allow your intuition to tell you what you need that day, and you will see. And that helps you, my client, to open up to their intuition, to trust their intuition. And it's something silly, because really, if you wear a yellow or a red color dress, your day is not really going to change that much. But it shows you that if you trust your intuition, you wear the color, everything goes well, you feel in that way. And it just reiterates that you are powerful, and everything around us can affect us, and how powerful colors are and healing they are. So yeah, so for me, it's really important to have colors around and to tune into those colors. And I do healing with colors. So it's a modality that is so close to my soul that I just like, I tried to ditch it and I was like, no, I need to go back to do this. Like, I can't, like, it's just so important for me. And it's my fun way of doing inner child healing. Even when I do inner child healing, I use meditations where I use colors. And, you know, for me, it's like inner work can be hard at times, but it doesn't have to be. It can be fun. It can be different. It can be, you can be curious when you do it. And so for me, colors also, I use it in that kind of way to do a deeper healing. But that doesn't feel like you're doing something really crazy. It's just like, okay, so I'm working with colors. And then as we move forward, you can see how that color has actually helped you to heal some part of yourself or that particular energy, and has helped you to attune yourself more to what you actually want.
Yeah, makes a load of sense. It's bizarre, really, because it was just like, why am I so drawn to this color? But like you're saying, you know, opening up to like receiving love and being held and all of those kind of things, because there's a level of hyper independence that I can go into sometimes.
Hello, yeah,
I can do this. It's all right. I can do this all. And you know, I was just having a conversation with a friend the other day. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're kind of both in the same stage in our life where we're like, okay, we've proved that we can do it on our own. Should we try something different? You know, and it's not like we're gonna with each other. We're just talking about what we're looking for in our lives as well. We're just like, it's exhausting, you know what I mean? It's like, let's kind of try something.
But also, as you said, and I'm with you there, because I think I'm a little bit younger than you, but I'm the same. And I think it's also proving to yourself that you can do everything by yourself is also okay. Now I don't actually need someone to help me with anything. I just want someone that really loves me and supports me and sees me as I am, rather than wanting me to be something or I want him to be something. It's really is, okay, now I am ready for someone that sees me and that allows me to be who I am without any fears, and it just wants to be with me and just wants to love me, and the opposite way around. So you get to that point where you're like, I don't need, I want this.
Yeah.
And it
And I think
changes everything.
it's important to have that period of time, maybe not make it as long as it needs to be, but so that you really get to know yourself, because
Yeah.
then
Oh, yeah.
the opposite of that is to have never been single, and then you don't know yourself, and then you're always kind of pulling somebody in
Yeah.
to I don't know what you're expecting at that point,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
some company, and you allow for anything else. And yeah, with regards to human design, it's like the basics that I know about myself. I know that I'm a manifesting generator,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 6-2, whatever that
Okay.
means. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was talking to someone I know who was trying to explain it to me. It's the same way when people, like friends of mine who are astrologers, try to explain astrology to me. I know like my basic things, and then they keep going, well, where's your thingy and thing? I'm like, I don't know. Like we've been talking about it for 5 years, but that it kind of just it runs through my mind, because
Yeah.
I just,
Well, the thing with both of them, like human design and astrology, there is so much information, and and I am super attracted by astrology, but the reason why I didn't start to study it is because there is way too much, and I feel like it's just a never-ending thing. Probably not, because I know a lot and I'm really interested. Well, human design wasn't really something that I made the conscious decision to actually go into. I got a couple of readings done on me, and they blew me away, because it's like, how do you know me that well? But it never occurred to me that that was something that I could actually start doing myself. And then I had a human Akashic record reading. I think it was 2021, yeah. And the reader suggested that I looked into human design because I could combine it with color therapy. She was like, there are some things that you can actually do. I'm like, oh, okay. And then a couple of weeks afterwards, a friend of mine, we were having a conversation. She's also a coach. We actually took the same course. And we were just chatting like we normally do and share things. And she was like, can I do human design reading on you? Because I'm studying human design and I need to do readings and I'd like to know what you think. I'm like, yeah, sure. I was like, because I know her and because I know she's already an established coach, I was like, I don't want you to do it for free. Let's trade. I do a color therapy session to you and you do this, because it doesn't feel right that you do it for free to me. So we did that. And after I did the color reading to her, she was like, you need to learn human design. I'm like, again, another one. She's like, yeah, because there are things that you need, like, you have to learn it, because, and she was telling me about it. She was like, because after you did the color therapy session with me, I just saw a lot of things. And she's a reflector. And so I started studying human design, and I realized how the energies kind of combine. And so human design really tells you how it gives you your strategy, basically. It's based on your date of birth and on your time of birth, but it really tells you how every center of your life function, and what are the things that give you energy, how you need to approach life, what's the best way to get focus, what's the best way for you to attract what you want, what is the most important thing for you to do in order to be in alignment. You're a manifesting generator, so you're someone that likes cut corners, and go ahead, but you also are someone that needs to respond, like, because your profile it's in the middle of being a manifestor and being a generator, so you have the energy of both, not everything. To me, a manifesting generator, as a tendency to be more into the generator kind of realm. But one of the things that is unique to you is that you need to envision what you want. Like for you, imagination is extremely important. It's one of the things that you need to do whenever you want to create something. So envisioning, creating vision boards, writing, that, like for you, everything that you want to attract plays in your mind first, your imagination first, and then you can make it happen. But you need to learn to respond to your sacral, and I guess your sacral is your authority center. And so for you, it's what I was saying about me. It's about learning to understand what your body tells you. And it might be from a logic perspective, it might make a lot of sense, but your body's telling you no. And the reason why your body's telling you no is because from an energetic point of view, your body already knows that thing is going to take too much energy for you. And you have something else maybe that you're doing, so it also helps you understand how to react to things, like, and stop saying yes to everybody. And, and everybody, like if you're a reflector, I think I always confuse reflector with projector, because I always have manifesting generator, manifestor coming to me. But if you're a reflector, you need to wait the lunar cycle and wait 28 days before you actually make an important decision. And in the meantime, you need to just gather information and talk to people. And once you learn this about yourself, you stop being, just make it happen, just do it. No, it doesn't work for you like that. When you make it happen, it will happen big time, but you have to wait those 28 days, And so, like, one of my clients the other day was like, oh my God, just the fact that you told me that resting isn't really important for me. Now I will stop feeling guilty because I want to take a nap in the afternoon. And I'm like, okay, but I think it's like human design helps you so much to decondition yourself from what society has told you are supposed to be doing. I think that especially as women, we are born with a specific way of needing to be. Like, I know for me, I was born in a Catholic country or in a Catholic family, so you need to go to school, find a good job, find a good man, have a family, and I'm the black sheep of the family because I haven't done anything of that, and I don't want to do anything of those things. I don't want kids. My mom is like no longer desperate, but at the beginning she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want to travel the world. I want to do things. Like, no, but that's wrong. I'm like, that's your opinion, not mine, but it's finding the courage also to, first of all, is understanding what really is helpful for you. What is helpful for me might not be helpful for you. So once you understand that, like, we might be very similar in a lot of things, but you have your own strategy. I have my own. Once you start to follow that, everything changes. Everything becomes easier. Like, I have a lot of clients struggling with finding focus, having a lot of energy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, because this is how you function. Like, for me, it was so important to learn that my mind starts to get 100 ideas and I don't have to make them all happen. I need to write them down because maybe I'll go back to them. But it's not for me to make them all happen. What I need to do is to ask my sacral, what is important for me in order to achieve, I don't know, this, if I know I am working towards something, or this is useful for my purpose right now, or just me wanting to do something fun because that's who I am. So it helps you ask the right questions. It helps you stop being overwhelmed because you're doing things like other people are telling you should be doing, or because you saw someone doing it that way, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it. And that's why I say, I've taken a lot of courses, but I know for me, the beginning, when I work with coaches, amazing coaches, but if I had known what I know now about myself, about human design, and about the fact that the reason why I wasn't taking action on certain things, I was afraid to do certain others, wasn't because my coaches, everybody that works with me is like, I love working with you because you do the things. And I'm like, yep. Because otherwise, what's the point of me coming to you? But there were so many unconscious fears that I had no idea about. So many parts of myself that were afraid of whatever for whatever reason. And it wasn't until I did inner child healing that I learned why. And it wasn't because I wasn't taking action. I was taking action, nothing was happening. I was getting frustrated. And now I'm not like, okay, so healing was part of that, but also I'm a generator. So frustration is my way of my soul way of saying you need to shift stuff. Either you learn something new because what you've learned now, you reach a plateau, you know everything about this thing. So there you need to learn a little bit more, or simply you need to shift things. What you're doing is not working. So ask your body, what do you need to do? And you know, I'm called the intuition queen. And so every time I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, tell me. And you know, it really brings you back to your body and brings you back to yourself and finding your own unique strategy. You're unique and you have your unique strategy. Our strategy might sometimes get together for some things, but you are unique. Like there's nobody like you ever in the world. So it's okay to learn from the past, but also it's also important to understand how you function so that you can always put yourself back on track if you fall off. Because we're always going to get into that moment where life happens or you just get confused or whatever. You know, those moments in life always happen. When we know how to bring yourself back to center and then go back into alignment, then okay, yeah, I need to do this. Okay, now I have a tool that tells me that I can use every time that allows me to reconnect to myself and find my answers within and then take action as I am meant to because I listen to myself. And this is my goal, you know, to me is like I don't want you to do what I say. I want you to learn to understand who you are so that you can do it by yourself. Once you finish working with me, I've given you tools that you can continue to use. And you can decide to come back working with me or not. But those tools that I gave you and those things that you learned about yourself, you can always go back to that and use that for you. And because I always like the fact that, you know, for me, it's like, okay, so I'm giving you this, go try it, do it yourself, find yourself. For me, it's like helping people finding themselves and following their unique way of doing things. That's for me, it's what I call freedom. And it's one of my core value to everything. Like freedom for me, it's like the top value. And so I want this for everybody who works with me and for everybody I'm in touch with.
Beautiful. I couldn't wrap it up any more perfectly than that. Mara, can you tell everyone where they can find you today?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, theintuitionqueen.com, and if you go to the tab free resources, I have a couple of freebies, so you can choose which one you like. You can find me on Instagram, The Intuition Queen, and I have my Facebook group, Soulful Success Blueprint and community, sorry. And you can find me there, and I go live pretty much every week and talk about all the things that we just talked about. And you can listen to my podcast, Intuitive Queens.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you, Mara, for sharing your information with me. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this episode and if you enjoy her conversations in general, I encourage and will welcome a review on whatever platform you are listening to this on. Also, you can contact me and find out more about me on my website, which is carolmaywhittick.com, carolmaywhittick.com. Find me on Instagram, Kazmic, Kazmick, or on Facebook or LinkedIn under Carol May Whittick. Enjoy your week. Until the next episode, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.